So I wonder if we're looking at a sort of badge of office of a group of civilizers who traveled around the world trying to bring back to life.
Finally, researchers have found an amazing connection between ancient India and South America. It is so incredible. The story of these two great lands just took a surprising turn, and people are talking about it. Recent findings have raised many questions about the ancient past. There seems to be a connection between the advanced culture of ancient India and the rich traditions of South America. The evidence is quite clear, and people cannot stop talking about it. But what if ancient sailors traveled even farther than we ever imagined? Could the vast ocean have been a bridge rather than a barrier? Some clues suggest that explorers from distant lands may have reached South America long before modern history tells us. Let's dive into the mystery of ancient maritime travel and uncover the secrets hidden beneath the waves. Sailing into mystery. Ancient history holds many secrets that have baffled researchers for many years. The story of maritime travel in ancient times is not as simple as many might think. Long before modern ships sailed the wide oceans, people from faraway lands built vessels strong enough to face the open sea. In the ancient world, sailors from the Indian subcontinent were known to venture along coastal routes, and perhaps even farther than what has been largely recorded in the written texts. At the same time, the native people of South America built their means of transport, trading goods and ideas across rivers and coastal waters. Archaeological records show that the Indus Valley civilization had a well-developed trade network that reached faraway regions. Many researchers have noted that ancient ports on the west coast of India served as gateways not only for trade, but also for the exchange of ideas. Traders carried spices, textiles, and precious stones to lands far away. Some of these journeys might have taken sailors to uncharted parts of the world. Some stories and hints suggest a possibility of ancient mariners having reached the shores of South America, a land rich in culture and natural beauty. In South America, ancient cultures built magnificent structures and organized advanced societies. Their achievements in art and architecture have been recognized by experts across the world. When researchers began to compare artifacts and symbols from these two regions, they noted a few interesting similarities. For example, some of the motifs seen on ancient seals and pottery bear a slight resemblance to designs found in Indian art. Such similarities may result from parallel evolution in artistic expression or hint at some exchange of ideas that has yet to be fully understood. At this point, we already have more questions that make us want to learn more. Could ancient sailors from India have reached the South American coast by chance? The ocean is wide and the routes long, yet human innovation has often exceeded expected boundaries. The unquenchable thirst of early travelers may have led them to explore new lands. Recent findings have brought forward evidence that supports the possibility of long-distance travel. Some ancient texts, though incomplete, mention expeditions that extend across large bodies of water. There is still strong evidence presenting itself in the form of a unique artifact. In a remote excavation site along a South American shoreline, an object was discovered with markings not typical of the native cultures of the region. These findings display a pattern that looks like certain symbols found in ancient Indian contexts. The design, drawn in the form of simple writing, is rarely seen in South American relics. Although the discovery does not offer conclusive proof, it provides a strong reason for further inquiry and urges researchers to take another look at established histories. Such a discovery demands a careful review of our assumptions. For many years, experts have argued over the meaning of similar symbols across continents. A clear link remains elusive. Nevertheless, the possibility ignites excitement and encourages further study. Every new finding helps us to understand human history. The narrative of ancient sailors and their voyages of exploration continues to evolve with each discovery. The question remains open and invites both critical examination and thoughtful reasoning. These findings lay a foundation for a broader investigation into the mysteries that connect distant lands. These additional insights encourage a new look at long-held beliefs. The journey into this ancient mystery remains captivating, urging us to question history with more enthusiasm. But could there be more to these ancient masterpieces than meets the eye? Some striking similarities between structures in India and South America have left researchers puzzled. Did these civilizations share knowledge across vast distances, or are these resemblances mere coincidences? Monuments and memorials. Ancient structures stand as silent witnesses to the creativity of early cultures. In India, the remnants of magnificent temples and elaborate carvings tell a story of a civilization that valued art and craftsmanship. The ancient cities of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, part of the Indus Valley civilization, exhibit urban planning and construction techniques that continue to impress researchers. Large public baths, fortified citadels, and elaborately carved seals all point to a society that understood both function and beauty. These artifacts have been studied for decades and have provided important insights into early trade and cultural exchange. South America also boasts a rich architectural heritage, from the stone terraces of the Andean highlands to the big ceremonial centers in the Amazon basin. Native builders created structures that remain mysterious in many ways. The stone masonry of ancient cities, constructed without the use of modern tools, speaks of a knowledge passed down through generations. Some ancient ruins feature decorative patterns and geometric shapes that appear in other parts of the world. Researchers have compared these designs with motifs found in ancient Indian art, noting that while the methods of construction differ, there is a shared sense of order and symbolism. Studying these monuments involves carefully examining stone, metal, and artistic styles. Researchers have used advanced techniques to date structures and analyze their materials. In India, the accuracy of stone carving has been a subject of admiration, while in South America, the scale and alignment of structures have raised questions about the planning and labor involved. Both regions show an attention to detail that suggests the work of dedicated craftsmen and an understanding of mathematics and astronomy. Such features have led some to speculate that there may have been influences that went beyond geographical boundaries. Researchers often explore similarities in design to find potential contacts between different cultures. Some have proposed that the spread of certain architectural techniques might have occurred through indirect contact, where ideas traveled over land and sea through intermediaries. Although no definitive proof exists, the parallels in geometric patterns, alignment with celestial events, and the use of similar building materials prompt an open mind toward possible connections. These observations have led to intense discussions among researchers and even scholars, with some experts urging for a deeper look into canonical timelines and migration theories. The study of monuments provides a tangible link to our past. When one examines the carefully laid stones of an ancient Indian temple or the carefully cut blocks of a South American pyramid, one cannot help but wonder if there is more to the story than isolated developments. The possibility of shared techniques or even the exchange of ideas encourages further research. It is worth noting that even small similarities in construction details may hint at a much broader network of knowledge and cultural contact. As we compare the evidence left behind by these two civilizations, we see that both value structure, order, and beauty. The architectural accomplishments of ancient India and South America remind us that human creativity often follows common patterns, even when separated by great distances. These insights force us to look at the evidence from a different angle, questioning whether the similarities are simply a coincidence or a deeper connection that has yet to be fully recognized. The lasting legacy of these monuments continues to fuel discussions and force us to reconsider our understanding of ancient history. These monuments are not simply remnants. Instead, they are messages from the past. Each stone and carving compels us to question our assumptions about ancient connectivity and the spread of ideas across continents. History speaks to those listening. Echoes in language and lore. Languages carry stories from one generation to the next, and sometimes they reveal hidden connections. In ancient India, languages such as Sanskrit preserved a rich literature, philosophy, and ritual legacy. These words and sounds have influenced not only regional communication, but also other cultures through trade and migration. In South America, indigenous languages such as Quechua and Aymara hold stories passed down for centuries. Some researchers have noted that a few words and phrases appear to have similarities, suggesting ancient language contact. Historical records show that cultures often adopt words from one another during periods of close interaction. When traders or travelers meet, they share goods, ideas, and language. Although no conclusive evidence exists that Sanskrit words influenced native South American languages, the occasional resemblance in sound and meaning creates curiosity. Some researchers have suggested that common human experiences and natural phenomena may lead different people to develop similar words independently. Still, the possibility that a direct connection exists cannot be entirely ruled out. Myth and lore are vital in Indian and South American cultures. Ancient texts from India speak of heroic journeys, divine interventions, and cosmic battles. Similarly, native South American legends feature epic quests, powerful deities, and profound connections with nature. Certain recurring themes appear in both traditions, such as the idea of a great flood, or the struggle between light and darkness. These shared themes have led some to consider that there might have been a flow of ideas between these separate regions. It is important to note that shared myths do not serve as conclusive evidence of direct contact. Rather, they call us to consider the universal nature of human storytelling. Some researchers have looked into oral traditions and ritual chants to discover traces of a possible exchange. They have compared poetic structures, metaphors, and symbolic language, searching for patterns that might indicate a common source. The task is challenging as languages evolve and borrow elements from many influences. Despite the difficulties, the study of language and traditions offers a fascinating window into the cultural interactions that may have occurred in ancient times. A few well-documented cases in history show that long-distance exchange of ideas is possible when driven by trade, curiosity, or shared spiritual beliefs. After an in-depth examination of linguistic patterns and mythological narratives, it becomes clear that both regions value their oral histories and sacred texts. People continue to debate the significance of these echoes in language and lore. There is no unanimous agreement, and most researchers caution against drawing firm conclusions from limited similarities. However, the conversation remains open and free. The search for understanding is fueled by the desire to find hidden links in our shared human past. We can see that language and myth can serve as bridges between these separate cultures. They provide some clues that may one day lead to a clearer picture of ancient interactions. The exploration of these echoes shows our histories are intertwined in ways that are not always obvious at first glance. The study of language and lore encourages us to keep questioning, learning, and respecting the diverse voices that have contributed to our collective heritage. These reflections on language and myth invite us to remain curious about the unseen threads that tie our pasts together. Every word and every story holds a clue to a larger mosaic of human experience that continues to evolve. This journey through language and history is a small step toward understanding our shared origins. Every discovery fuels our search for truth. Evidence from Earth and bloodlines. Scientific inquiry provides a pathway to explore the past through concrete evidence. Modern techniques in genetics and anthropology have provided new insights into human migration and ancient contact. Researchers have recently studied the DNA of various populations to understand how groups of people may have moved across continents. In India, genetic studies have shown a complex mix of ancestry molded by centuries of migrations and exchanges. Similarly, in South America, indigenous populations carry genetic traits that suggest ancient histories filled with movement and adaptation. Anthropological research has provided further insight into the lives of early peoples. Excavations in both India and South America have unearthed tools, pottery, and other artifacts that speak to the daily lives of ancient communities. These artifacts are examined with modern scientific methods to determine their age, origin, and techniques used in their creation. Some artifacts display similarities in design that are difficult to dismiss as just coincidence. Researchers are cautious when concluding, as evidence must be robust and replicable. Yet every piece of data contributes to a broader picture of a world where faraway lands may have been more connected than once thought. One area of interest is the study of genetic traits that cross traditional boundaries. Certain traits, typically found in populations from the Indian subcontinent, have been occasionally identified in some groups in South America. While such findings are rare and subject to further verification, they fuel the debate about possible ancient contacts. It is important to stress that these genetic signals are not proof of direct migration, but rather offer hints that warrant further investigation. Scientists continue to enhance their techniques and expand their databases, seeking clarity amid the many variables that affect genetic inheritance. Anthropologists have also examined cultural practices, dietary habits, and even artistic expressions in search of common origins. The similarities observed in ancient art and ritual customs across continents sometimes prompt questions about whether there was an exchange of cultural traits. There is no definitive answer yet, and most experts agree that caution is needed when interpreting such evidence. The field of ancient DNA is still in its early stages, and many studies are ongoing. Each discovery adds depth to our understanding of human history. We can note that the language of science, through DNA and artifact analysis, speaks a story that is still being written. Every new study tells us a bit more about our past. The search for evidence from both the Earth and our bloodlines continues and reminds us that the history of human movement is complex and full of the unknown. These findings encourage a careful rethinking of our past. The evidence gathered from both the soil and the human genome adds new dimensions to our understanding of ancient migrations. Although the connections remain uncertain, every piece of research brings us closer to discovering the truth. Science shows us that the past is not something that has been completely decided, but a living story that we continually learn to interpret. Could these ancient markings be more than just artistic expression? Some believe they hold clues to forgotten connections between civilizations, whispering across time through carved stone and etched symbols. As we trace these mysterious patterns, we must ask, are they mere coincidence, or do they hint at a shared past waiting to be uncovered? Symbols carved in stone. Symbols are a powerful form of communication, even when people do not speak the same language. In ancient India, symbols such as the lotus, the swastika, and various geometric patterns played important roles in religious and cultural life. These symbols carried meanings that were deeply rooted in spirituality and the understanding of the cosmos. Artisans carved these images on temple walls, coins, and seals, leaving behind a record of beliefs and practices that have been studied for many centuries. Each mark tells a story, and when studied in context, they reveal much about the society that created them. In South America, the art of carving and symbol making was equally significant. Native peoples used symbols in pottery, textiles, and stone carvings to represent their connection with nature, the divine, and the cycles of life. Many of these symbols have a circular design, reflecting ideas of continuity and balance. Some researchers have observed that certain symbols found on ancient South American artifacts look like those seen in Indian art. Although these similarities may be coincidental, they have led to deeper study and comparison. The careful examination of these symbols involves not only a visual comparison, but also an understanding of their cultural context. Experts analyze the shapes, lines, and patterns that recur in the art of both regions. They also consider the materials and techniques used in their creation. In India, the tradition of carving has been passed down through generations, and the accuracy in detailing can be seen. In South America, using natural stone and integrating the environment into artistic creation speak to a different, yet equally complex approach to art. Some people have debated whether these common visual themes arise from shared human experiences or if they hint at a distant historical connection. Some argue that similar challenges and ideas lead different cultures to adopt comparable symbols independently. Others maintain that the exchange of artistic ideas through ancient trade routes could have influenced the development of these symbols. There is no clear-cut answer, and the discussion remains open to those who are interested. In addition to physical symbols, the stories and meanings attached to them are equally important. Oral traditions and mythologies provide context to the carved images. Many symbols are tied to creation myths, legends of heroic deeds, and representations of natural forces. This interplay between art and narrative enriches our understanding of how ancient peoples perceived their world. The study of these symbols is about aesthetics and also about understanding the messages that ancient societies left for future generations. We have looked at the interesting designs carved in stone, comparing the art of ancient India and South America. The fine details, despite differences in style and technique, make us consider the possibility that there is a shared language of symbolism that connects diverse cultures across time and space. Every single cut is proof of human creativity and the desire to express ideas beyond the said words. These lasting symbols continue to inspire researchers and every other person. When interpretations clash, the mystery deepens. Are these similarities a coincidence or evidence of lost connections? While some remain skeptical, others see a hidden chapter of history waiting to be uncovered. Could we be closer than ever to proving ancient civilizations were more connected than we thought? Varied views on ancient connections. Intellectual discussions have always been a healthy part of the search for truth. In the case of potential links between ancient India and South America, researchers are divided. Some experts examine the available evidence with an open mind, considering that the similarities in art, language, and genetic clues suggest a deeper connection. Others maintain that the differences in historical records and the absence of concrete artifacts point to separate and independent developments. The tension between these views is not new. It reflects a bigger conversation on how we learn about the past from small pieces of information. Research papers published in reputable journals have discussed the possibility of ancient contact, though conclusions remain uncertain. Studies in genetics, archaeology, and art history are often met with both controversy and interest. Critics argue that the evidence is circumstantial and that the similarities observed can be explained by similar evolution or common human experiences. They point out that cultures across the world have independently developed similar solutions to shared challenges. Supporters of the contact theory emphasize that even indirect connections over great distances are not impossible, given the known capabilities of ancient sailors. They note that trade and migration have always occurred in surprising ways throughout history. The conversation is filled with different perspectives. Some people draw on the work of early historians and travelers who recorded surprising encounters with foreign customs. Others rely on the latest scientific techniques to analyze artifacts and DNA. Conferences and symposiums provide forums where both sides of the argument can present their findings and challenge each other. The discussions are passionate and usually argumentative, yet they are driven by a shared commitment to discovering the truth about our past. The diversity of opinions makes the field lively and dynamic, and it inspires deeper research and exploration. A key point in the conversations is the reliability of interpretations. Historical evidence, especially from ancient times, is often incomplete. Artifacts can be misinterpreted when taken out of context, and linguistic similarities may be coincidental rather than evidence of direct influence. The researchers who argue against a direct connection warn against concluding based solely on visual or genetic resemblances. They call for more high standards of proof and insist that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. The conversations are not about accepting one view over the other, but about exploring all possibilities with an open yet critical mind. The discussion between researchers and critics indicates the complexity of human history. The lively exchange of ideas ensures that any emerging theory will be thoroughly examined from multiple perspectives. It is this kind of dialogue that advances our understanding and keeps the search for knowledge alive and evolving. These debates show that no single perspective holds all the answers. The continuous questioning and thorough study of historical evidence enrich our view of the past. The dialogue between different schools of thought is important in putting together the complex mix of human history. Every discussion, every challenge, and every discovery pushes the boundaries of what we know. Threads of theory. The area of historical study is not without its share of guessing and exciting stories. In the search for a connection between ancient India and South America, Various theories have appeared that challenge normal wisdom. Some claim that ancient travelers, driven by curiosity and the desire for discovery, may have crossed large oceans and left traces of their journeys in strange places. These theories are built on a combination of physical evidence, such as strange artifacts and symbols, and the interpretation of historical texts and oral traditions. While many of these ideas are yet to be proven, they have caught the attention of researchers and people who love to learn. Some stories talk of secret expeditions undertaken by ancient mariners. In some accounts, fearless sailors from India are said to have embarked on daring expeditions that took them to faraway lands. Such narratives are sometimes supported by isolated findings that appear to link the two cultures, including objects with inscriptions and designs that seem out of place in their context. Although mainstream researchers urge caution, these rumors of ancient contact continue to generate discussions. The mystery surrounding these possibilities has made the subject a popular topic among those who study history and culture. Some researchers point to the presence of certain plant species and spices in South America that are native to India. They say that these botanical clues might indicate a transfer of agricultural knowledge through ancient trade routes. Similarly, the discovery of artifacts with motifs resembling those of Indian origin in remote areas of South America adds another layer to the discussion. Critics of these theories maintain that natural dispersal and independent innovation could account for such occurrences. Beyond physical artifacts, there is also the matter of shared cultural practices and religious symbolism. Certain ceremonies and ritual customs in South American societies have been seen to mirror practices found in ancient India. Although the evidence is not strong enough to confirm direct contact, the similarities are enough to fuel discussions and thoughts among different people. In many ways, these threads of theory and stories are put together in a bigger picture that encompasses both confirmed historical events and mythology. They remind us that the past is full of mysteries that cannot be explained, and that even a small piece of evidence can lead to a wide range of interpretations. The subject has become a favorite among people who like to study history and serious researchers alike, each adding their twist to the evolving narrative of ancient travel and cultural exchange. Ideas and questions arise, urging viewers to consider the possibilities while remaining grounded in careful research. The blend of theory and random stories, though sometimes bordering on sensationalism, teaches us that history is not always straightforward, and that every idea must be investigated before being accepted as fact. While these theories may seem like the stuff of legend, they portray the human desire to connect with our ancestors and to grasp the forces that have shaped our world. The discussion represents a sincere effort by researchers to assemble the fragments of our collective past. Every new idea demands scrutiny and offers the promise of deeper insight into the mysteries of ancient travel and cultural exchange. Whether you are a dedicated researcher or simply a curious observer, the ongoing conversation about potential links between ancient India and South America urges you to think broadly and question assumptions. The excitement of finding hidden histories continues to drive both intellectual discussions and popular interest, keeping this interesting subject alive. As science advances and new discoveries emerge, the pieces of this historical puzzle may finally start to fit together. Could the answers be hidden beneath the waves, buried in ancient ruins, or encoded in artifacts waiting to be deciphered? The future of the puzzle. The search for a clear connection between ancient India and South America is ready to benefit from new research methods and coordinated international efforts. Underwater archaeology is one area that holds concrete promise. New sonar imaging and remote sensing technology now enable researchers to detect submerged structures and shipwrecks in both the Indian Ocean and along the South American coastline. Recent surveys along India's western shores have revealed possible ancient port remains, and similar investigations planned off the northern coasts of South America may discover artifacts of maritime travel that have long been hidden under sediment or water. Highly accurate dating methods are also transforming our ability to connect with the past. Techniques such as refined radiocarbon dating and optically stimulated luminescence now provide more accurate timelines for ancient artifacts and building materials. In India, these methods have helped to narrow down the period of urban development within the Indus Valley. By applying the same techniques to South American sites, researchers expect to establish tighter chronological links that could either support or question theories of transoceanic contact. This increased accuracy in dating will allow for a more reliable comparison of cultural timelines between the two regions. Advances in genetic analysis add another concrete layer to this investigation. Modern DNA sequencing technologies can reveal patterns in population genetics that indicate migration and intercontinental exchanges. Researchers may identify similarities that suggest contact or independent development of shared traits by comparing genetic traits in ancient remains from both regions. Current projects in India and South America are expanding sample sizes and improving data quality, which may soon provide more answers regarding ancient human movement and cultural exchange. International collaborative projects are being planned to combine these methods effectively. Research teams from several countries have started coordinating targeted surveys and excavations at sites that display unusual similarities in artifact design and construction techniques. For instance, a planned joint survey of coastal settlements in the Indian subcontinent and northern South America aims to integrate underwater scans, precise dating, and genetic sampling. This interdisciplinary approach is expected to build a more comprehensive picture of ancient interactions. The future of this puzzle rests on the continued integration of these substantial research methods. With careful application and close collaboration among archaeologists, geneticists, and historians, the study of ancient contacts between India and South America is likely to yield concrete evidence soon. The advancement of technology and a focused research agenda promise to bring clarity to this long-standing historical mystery, offering a clearer understanding of how ancient civilizations may have interacted across wide oceans. That concludes our exploration into the mysterious connection between ancient India and South America. We have examined clues from monuments, language, genetics, and art, leaving us with many questions and a thirst for more answers. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. Stay tuned as we continue to share stories that challenge what we know about our world.